Welcome to MrClaff.com's review of the Industrial Revolution, brought to you by Noble Review, concise review books. During the second half of the 18th century, there was an enormous increase in the number of machine-made finished goods being produced in factories across England. Such ideas of industrialization spread to mainland Europe, the United States, and eventually the entire world. Because factories offered jobs, people migrated to cities in a process called urbanization. Urbanization was enhanced by railroads that linked rural and urban or city areas. Steam-powered vessels, such as Robert Fulton's steamboat, were available because of James Watt's fuel-efficient steam engine. Urbanization had its share of problems, as pollution, child labor, and unsanitary living conditions were common in cities. It wasn't until Louis Pasteur and others studied germ theory that cities became equipped with better sanitation and plumbing. To fuel the needed labor for industrialization, there was an agricultural revolution which helped increase food supplies. Indeed, new farming techniques were used, such as crop rotation, where good harvests were ensured when specific crops were planted in the soil from year to year. In addition, enclosures or fences were constructed to create larger farms. Also, Jethro Tull's seed drill was invented, which ensured that seeds were planted evenly in rows. The Industrial Revolution began in England. That's important to know. England, though an island, has abundant natural resources such as coal and hydroelectric power. Resources used to produce finished goods are called factors of production. These factors include capital, laborers, land or natural resources, and entrepreneurs. In addition, because it's an island on the English Channel, there are ample harbors suitable for trade. England also has rivers for domestic travel. Many of the early English factories produced textiles. Early inventions included John Kay's flying shuttle, which doubled the speed at which yarn could be spun, James Hargreaves' spinning jenny, which could spin 8 times as fast, and Samuel Crompton's spinning mule, which spun with the use of hydroelectric power. Cotton demand was later met because of American inventor Eli Whitney's cotton gin. The Industrial Revolution further strengthened beliefs in capitalism, or the economic system where business ventures are controlled by private owners who have an incentive to gain from their investments. Private ownership, or free enterprise, was open to anyone who wanted to take the financial risk as an entrepreneur. They could issue stock to outside investors looking to own a share of the company. Often, though, the government would get involved with monitoring corporations. In 1776, Adam Smith wrote The Wealth of Nations, where he argued that the government should take its hands off the economy and permit a free market. This non-interference concept is called laissez-faire. During the Industrial Revolution, people were suffering from hard work and an increasing gap between the rich and the poor. Germans Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels wrote the Communist Manifesto in 1848 to criticize these situations. They encouraged the lower class, or proletariat, to rise up and eliminate all distinctions of classes. Marx favored a classless society. In a classless society, there would be socialism, where the means of production can be shared by the people. This is the opposite of capitalism, which has individuals striving for the incentive of profit. In an equal socialist state, such incentive would not exist. In an economic, political, and social sense, extreme socialism would be defined by Marx as communism. Besides socialists, there were Luddites, or those who protested the massive changes brought forth by the Industrial Revolution. Luddites were upset that machines were replacing skilled laborers. As the Industrial Revolution spread, so did unionization. Still prevalent today, unions are organizations that look to provide protection against the exploitation of the working class. They aim for higher wages and better working conditions. When demands aren't met, unions can go on strike or stop working. Some unions utilize collective bargaining, where employees and employers could negotiate contracts together. There were new philosophies which emerged during this time. There was Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill, who believed in the greatest happiness principle. They believed the government should provide for the greatest good for the greatest number. This notion of the morality of actions being judged by their consequences is called utilitarianism. In other words, a government's actions would be deemed good if they provided for the happiness of many. Another thinker, Thomas Malthus, believed that birth rates would not keep pace with food supplies. Therefore, poverty and even starvation would be experienced by some. David Ricardo believed in the iron law of wages, where workers would make just enough to get by, as with a large labor force, employers would not have the incentive to pay higher wages. For more review, you can get free flashcards and review sheets at MrClaff.com. We also invite you to check out Noble Review in both paperback and ebook formats. Best of luck on your tests.